From the firewall, I'm going to ping the DMZ router loopback interface, which is 1.1.1.1. It won't be successful because there's no route to the host on the firewall. And from the DMZ router, we can see that there's a default route pointing to the DMZ interface of the firewall, which is what we want. I'm going to run another command, show routes, and you can see that the firewall only knows about the network that are directly connected to it. So there's no route to 1.1.1.1. So that's why the ping wasn't successful. So now I'll go back to the Firepower Device Manager and I'll click on create the first static route. I'll click on create static route. The protocol is IPv4. I'll specify the gateway, that's the next hop. And my next hop in the DMZ segment will be 10.10.30.1. So I'll create an object for the next hop on the DMZ segment. I'll name it DMZ_GW, that's gateway. The type of object will be host, and that will be 10.10.30.1. I'll click on OK. And for the interface, the exit interface will be the DMZ interface, of course, that's gig01. I'll leave the metric at the default of 1. And now I need to add networks. That means networks that are residing behind that DMZ interface. So I'll name this DMZ loopback 0 and I'll specify my loopback interface IP address. And I'll select the object. So that means if the firewall is going to the DMZ_loopback 0 object, then it should direct the traffic to the exit interface, which is DMZ, and the next hop will be DMZ_GW. So that's it. So I'll create another static route for the inside segment so that the firewall can now to get to 10.10.10.0/24 network. I'll click on the plus icon, and the gateway this time will be the next hop on the inside segment of the firewall. So I'm going to name it inside_GW, that's gateway. The object type is host, and the next hop is 10.10.20.1, which is on the switch. The exit interface will be the in interface of the firewall, gig00. So the network that resides behind that interface, and in this case, that will be 10.10.10.0/24 network. So I'm going to name it inside_network. That's okay. So right now, select the object. So that's it for the inside segment. So one more I'll create for the outside segment of the firewall also. So I'll create the next hop, that's a gateway. That will be outside_GW. GW means gateway. And the next hop IP is going to be that IP address. So I'll select the object outside_GW. So the exit interface will be the outside interface, that's out, gig02. And the network that resides behind the outside interface, I'm going to make it any. So that's any other network, any unknown, should be pointed to the outside interface. And I'll deploy. So those are the changes that will be deployed on the firewall. So those are all the changes that we've made, the object that we've configured, the static route that we've configured. So now I'll click deploy now. Deployment is in progress. Okay, deployment is done. So I'll go back to the FTD CLI. I will run the command show route. You should be able to see the routes that have been learned via static. You can see the static default route to the outside interface. You can see the static route to DMZ and that to the inside segment. Unlike before, when the firewall is not learning any route. So now ping 1.1.1.1, it should be successful now because there's now routes to 1.1.1.1. I'll ping 10.10.10.1, which is on the inside segment also. That should also be successful because there's routes to the network. And finally, I'll ping 2.2.2.2. That should be successful also because the firewall now knows the route. And again, you can also ping and specify interface. If you want to ping via FTD, you can also specify the interface name. If you want to ping via the management interface, you use ping system. But if you want to ping via data interface, you use ping interface and you specify the interface name. Show name if. So that will you see the name of interface. You can do ping interface in and space. That means you are specifying the exit interface already. That's all you are doing.